a billionaire. Rihanna is a billionaire. Bob Johnson is a billionaire. Magic Johnson is a Tiger Woods. Serena, Snow Bunny Serena is a billionaire. Listen. You know why they get them? Because all the money they made it through who? Through the white power structure. And they don't want to lose it. They have so much to lose that the power structure know when I put that microphone in front of Michael Jordan's mouth, when I put that microphone in front of LeBron James' mouth, when I put that microphone in front of Oprah Winfrey's mouth, it's not going to be what the black people really think and feel. I control them. They will never let authentic grassroots voices get on the internet. Look at me. I'm the most popular black activist in the world. I've never been on Oprah's couch. Why hasn't Dr. Umar ever been on Oprah's couch? Because I will turn that mother out. And so because of that, I'll never get on Oprah's couch. They'll go get Swollen Martin or somebody to sit on Oprah's couch, but they're not gonna get no real authentic, because you will force a conversation on topics they don't want to talk about. Here's my issue with black in the media. We are the only people in modern history who participated in the extermination of our own public image. Black women literally participate in the extermination of their own public image through the reality shows, the drama shows, the gangster rap. Everything the world thinks about black women, you guys are literally dramatizing it to the world for money. Black men, all the gangster rapping and all the negative images we project about ourselves through the media, we are literally confirming people's opinions and stereotypes about African people. So when the police pull you over and blow your brains out and he goes to court, he gonna get off. You know why? Because all the jurors saw the gangster rap videos. They saw the reality shows. They saw the dramas and the movies and the sitcoms. And guess what? Most of white America don't come into daily contact with black people. So the opinions they form about us.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into a really layered topic today.
Yeah, perceptions of black Americans.
That's it. We've got a fascinating mix of sources.
We do documentaries,
podcasts,
personal stories,
even some economic analysis.
It's going to be fascinating to see where this all leads.
The goal is to understand how those perceptions have shifted over time.
Definitely. And the forces that drive them.
And how individuals navigate their identities within all of that.
So much to unpack.
Let's jump right in. Our journey starts back in the 1960s.
Okay.
With this documentary called American Negro.
Interesting.
On the surface, it paints this picture of black family life, seemingly positive.
I see.
We see Walter, he's a social worker happily helping with housework.
Yeah.
And there's this heartwarming Thanksgiving dinner with the Smith family.
I'm listening.
It all feels very wholesome.
Right. But there's more to it.
There's something deeper going on, right?
You're picking up on it.
Like, is it really just about showcasing black families as successful?
Well, the film, while seemingly progressive for the time, still frames those experiences through a particular lens.
What do you mean?
Take Walter's eagerness to help with the chores. It may seem like a simple act.
Sure.
But it subtly reinforces this expectation that black men should be helpers, domestic, rather than equal partners in the home.
So it's not just showing these families succeeding, but succeeding by a very specific set of standards.
Exactly. It's like saying, look, black families can be just like white families.
But the definition of what that successful family is
still dictated by the dominant culture. You got it.
Makes you think about how much progress has really been made.
For sure.
If we're still using those same old yardsticks.
A lot to consider, and it brings us to a source that's caused quite a stir.
Which one?
The Willie Lynch letter.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
The authenticity is still debated.
Right.
But regardless, the ideas within it resonate, particularly within the black community.
It's like a guide for controlling enslaved people, creating division, isn't it?
That's the core of it.
Pitting them against each other?
Turning the enslaved against themselves. Old versus young, men versus women, light skin against dark skinned. It's all there.
Don't like stuff.
A strategy for dismantling any sense of unity or collective power.
And what's really unsettling is the Gotta Be Me podcast.
What about it?
The hosts draw a direct line from those strategies in the letter to issues they see within the black community today.
They do.
They talk about intergenerational conflict, complicated gender dynamics,
Even colorism.
It's like those echoes from the letter are still reverberating.
They are. Whether the letter itself is real or not, the ideas have taken root and continue to impact communities.
Right, and it's not just interpersonal either.
No, it shapes how Black communities are perceived and treated by society as a whole.
Okay, so we've got this historical backdrop of division, of control, but then there's John McWhorter's article, What's Holding Blacks Back?
Right, he comes at it from a very different perspective.
It seems like he's saying dwelling on past injustices can actually hinder progress.
That's essentially it. He uses this term, cult of victimology.
Interesting.
He feels it's an over-reliance on past injustices as an excuse for inaction, and that this constant focus on victimhood can be detrimental.
That's a challenging thought, but
It is.
Is there a risk that focusing solely on the past keeps us trapped in this cycle of blame?
It's a valid question, and McWhorter's point highlights the need for critical thinking, recognizing the history, while also pushing for individual responsibility and empowerment. It's a fine line.
Definitely. It's almost as if getting stuck in that victim mentality plays right into the hands of those who want to keep us divided.
Interesting point.
Powerless. And it makes me think about how these historical perceptions, these stereotypes, persist in media and popular culture even centuries later.
They do, and the story of Sarah Baartman is just heartbreaking, a prime example.
Can you remind everyone who she was and why her story matters so much to this discussion?
Sarah Baartman was a Khoikhoi woman from South Africa, taken from her home in the early 1800s and put on display in Europe as a spectacle.
A spectacle.
They exhibited her in freak shows.
No.
Subjected her to this horrific scientific racism, all because of her physique, her large buttocks.
That's awful.
They called her the Hottentot Venus, treated her like an object, not a human being.
It's hard to even imagine the level of exploitation, the dehumanization she faced.
It's a dark reminder of how Black bodies have been objectified and fetishized, particularly Black female bodies.
And what's even more disturbing is that we still see echoes of this today.
We do.
Think about contemporary beauty standards.
Yes.
Emphasizing certain features.
Like large buttocks, you're right.
It's like this twisted cycle where features once seen as grotesque or undesirable are now the epitome of beauty.
But without acknowledging the history, the pain, the exploitation underneath.
Exactly. Like history is just repeating itself, repackaged and commodified.
You've got it. A reminder that those historical perceptions continue to color our views on beauty, desirability, worthiness.
It's a sobering thought, but it's important to see these patterns, to understand how the past shapes the present.
I agree.
But even with all these challenges, they're also incredible examples of resilience, agency, positive trends within the Black community.
You're absolutely right.
The documentary, The Rise of the African-American Elite, really highlights this.
It does. It gives us a glimpse into a world of successful Black entrepreneurs who are defying the stereotypes.
Shattering them.
And achieving incredible success.
Like Don Peebles.
The real estate mogul.
And Psyche Terry, the beauty entrepreneur.
They are truly shattering that myth of Black economic inferiority.
Their stories are so inspiring. They represent Black excellence in action.
I agree.
Showing that it's possible to overcome those historical barriers.
Absolutely.
And achieve something extraordinary.
It is inspiring.
And it's not just about individual success. We see collective action, community empowerment too.
Like
the Buy Black movement.
Interesting.
Maggie Anderson's story, where she committed to spending all her family's money at Black-owned businesses for a whole year.
Wow, a whole year.
It highlights the potential impact of consciously circulating wealth within Black communities.
Yeah, fostering economic growth and self-sufficiency.
And it sparked a national conversation about the power of economic solidarity.
It did. And while there are debates about long-term viability,
For sure.
it undeniably brought attention to the importance of supporting Black-owned businesses.
And the potential of using economic power for collective upliftment.
Powerful stuff.
It feels like a direct rejection of those divisive strategies from the Willie Lynch letter, you know?
How so?
Like saying, we're not going to be pitted against each other anymore.
Yeah.
We'll use our collective power to build a better future.
Powerful statement in just one way. Black communities are pushing back against these limiting narratives, forging their own paths.
Incredible. We'll continue this conversation after a short break.
And it's interesting how those individual stories of success often intersect with the whole challenge of navigating spaces that are predominantly white.
Right. It's not always a smooth journey.
It's not.
Like Jessica, the music video director from The Rise of the African-American Elite.
What about her?
She talks about how people are surprised to see her lifestyle, Like they can't reconcile her being black with her wealth.
It highlights those ingrained biases, even among people who think they're progressive.
Like there's this assumption that black people shouldn't be wealthy.
Exactly, and when they are, it challenges those preconceived notions.
It's like they just don't fit the mold.
Right.
And then Jessica, even though she's in a mostly black industry,
Yeah.
gets accused of acting white.
It's a classic example of how limiting those societal expectations can be.
Too black or not black enough.
Always judged.
It's exhausting.
It is, and this whole acting white thing is insidious because it equates success, intelligence with whiteness.
Right, implying that black culture is somehow inferior.
Exactly.
Such a damaging message, especially for young people trying to find their way.
Especially that.
It's like saying you have to reject your heritage to succeed.
To fit in.
Similar.
And that pressure leads to code switching.
Can you explain that a bit more? I think a lot of people can relate, even outside of race.
Sure. Code switching is basically shifting between languages, dialects, even mannerisms.
Depending on who you're with.
Exactly, the social context.
So in Jessica's case,
Yeah.
she might code switch on set with white clients.
Right, and then switch back when she's with family or friends.
And while it can be a way to survive, it must be emotionally draining.
It can be. Constantly presenting a different version of yourself.
Takes a toll on your identity.
Your sense of authenticity.
It's like even when you achieve success, those biases, those societal pressures don't just vanish.
They don't.
You're still navigating a system that wasn't built for you.
That's right.
And it makes me think of Candace Owens.
Oh, from Black America, white people are not holding you back.
Yeah, she takes a completely different stance, arguing against what she sees as a victim mentality.
She does, a very controversial perspective.
Especially given the historical context we've talked about. She promotes personal responsibility as the key to empowerment.
Right, and it often sparks debate, especially within the Black community.
It challenges some deep-rooted beliefs.
About the impact of systemic racism.
It's important to remember there's no single Black perspective on these issues.
I agree.
Candace Owens represents one end of a spectrum.
A wide spectrum of opinions.
And that's what makes this exploration so fascinating.
It does.
We're not trying to present a monolithic view.
Right.
We're highlighting the diversity of thought, the range of experiences.
Yes, complexity.
We see figures like Candace Owens promoting individual responsibility.
Yes.
And then others like Maggie Anderson pushing for collective action.
Like the Buy Black movement.
It shows there's no one right answer.
There isn't.
It's about engaging with these different ideas.
Thinking critically.
Forming your own informed opinions.
And speaking of different perspectives, we haven't touched on something that's often overlooked.
What's that?
The impact of fast food on Black communities.
Oh, right.
The video Fast Food in the Black Community really dives into that.
You know, before watching it, I hadn't made that connection between fast food and race.
It's not an obvious link at first.
But it's a really compelling argument.
I'm so.
Well, the video traces this whole thing back to the 60s, after the Civil Rights Movement.
Okay.
Companies like McDonald's saw an opportunity
Yeah.
franchising to Black owners, specifically in Black neighborhoods.
Seemed like a good thing on the surface.
A way to boost Black entrepreneurship.
Promote economic empowerment.
But the video argues that this influx of fast food actually contributed to a health crisis.
A public health crisis.
Higher rates of obesity, diabetes.
Heart disease.
So instead of empowerment, it made things worse.
Exacerbated existing health disparities, yes.
And the video talks about food swamps.
Areas where fast food just dominate.
Outnumbering healthy options.
Grocery stores, farmers markets, all scarce.
It makes sense. If your only affordable choices are fast food.
Your options are severely limited.
And the video doesn't shy away from marketing either.
What do you mean?
The way these companies target Black consumers with their ads.
Playing on cultural nuances.
Economic vulnerabilities.
It's like they're dangling this version of the American dream, but it comes at a cost.
a high cost.
For your health.
Is a tragic irony.
It is.
The video highlights those franchise owners.
Yeah.
Caught in a system that ultimately benefits the corporation more than their own community.
They become pawns in this bigger game.
And their community's health suffers.
And it's not just about the owners themselves.
Right.
The video touches on broader forces, historical disinvestment, lack of access to fresh food,
Systemic racism.
all shaping these communities.
It's complex, but the video does a great job connecting those dots.
Showing how these seemingly separate factors create this troubling situation.
A reminder that true empowerment means addressing the root causes.
not just offering surface-level opportunities that perpetuate inequality.
Okay, we've covered the historical context, the societal pressures, the economic hurdles.
Even public health.
But we need to circle back to the individuals,
Yes.
to their personal experiences navigating this landscape.
Their stories are crucial.
Like Psyche Terry. She talks about how people are surprised by her lifestyle. Like, they can't believe a Black woman can be so successful.
It's those deep-seated biases, even among well-meaning people.
And then Jessica getting labeled as acting white.
Even in a Black-dominated industry,
You can't win.
it's those societal expectations boxing you in.
Always judged.
And it sends this harmful message that Black culture is inferior
That to succeed, you have to abandon your roots.
to fit the mold.
But then there's Don Peebles.
The real estate mogul.
He embraces his Blackness while defying those stereotypes.
What do you mean?
He talks about waiting to buy a Ferrari because he didn't want to feed into that image of the flashy Black man with money.
He's aware of those stereotypes and actively challenges them,
He's defining success on his own terms.
not compromising his identity.
It's so inspiring
It is
to see him navigate that space with intention.
showing it's possible to succeed without conforming.
These stories bring the complexities of Black identity to life.
They do. It's not just abstract ideas. It's real people facing real challenges.
They're finding their own ways to thrive.
And it emphasizes that there's no single Black experience.
A tapestry of perspectives.
Triumphs, struggles.
It's about amplifying those voices, challenging the narratives that try to flatten or erase them.
Absolutely. Giving space to those individual stories is crucial.
It's like we're finally seeing cracks in this wall of stereotypes, and these personal experiences are the sledgehammers breaking it down.
Powerful imagery.
But let's not forget the collective efforts, too.
Like
The Buy Black movement is one example, but there's so much activism happening.
people pushing for change.
Like in the fast food video, those Black franchise owners protesting,
Demanding accountability.
pushing back against a system that exploited them.
A reminder that even within powerful corporations, there's still a fight for justice.
And it's not just economic justice.
No.
People are fighting for criminal justice reform,
Educational equity.
voting rights,
Dismantling systemic racism at every level.
and it's gaining momentum. The Black Lives Matter movement brought global attention to police brutality, racial injustice,
Sparked a national conversation.
forcing people to confront uncomfortable truths.
And it's not just talk. People are organizing, mobilizing,
Registering voters,
running for office.
building their own institutions.
It's collective action in motion, showing that change doesn't happen passively. It takes effort, a relentless push for justice.
And it's not just about Black people either.
You're right.
It's about a more just society for everyone.
Recognizing our shared humanity.
An injustice against one is an injustice against all.
A powerful message to keep amplifying.
This deep dive has shown me how interconnected these issues are.
They are.
From history to present challenges, economic disparities to social justice, it's all woven together.
A tapestry.
And dismantling these systems needs a multifaceted approach.
We need to address the root causes.
Challenge our own biases.
Support those working for change.
And have these difficult conversations, even when they're uncomfortable.
That's where real understanding starts.
It's a lot to absorb, but I'm feeling hopeful.
Why is that?
Seeing all these people working to create a better future,
It is inspiring.
and to think it all started with these random sources.
Random but powerful.
Who knew where they would lead us?
That's the beauty of a deep dive. You never know where you'll end up.
But it's always worth the journey.
Agreed.
And I think that's a good point to pause for now.
We've covered a lot.
But there's more to explore
Join us for part 3.
as we delve even deeper into this fascinating topic.
It'll be a great finish to this deep dive.
Back again for part 3 of our deep dive, Perceptions of Black America.
We've covered a lot of ground, some heavy stuff.
We have, from historical oppression to the challenges people face today.
But we've also seen such resilience, innovation.
A drive for change. And this theme of division versus unity has been really thought-provoking.
It has.
That Willie Lynch letter, real or not, sparked this conversation about how those in power try to divide and control.
Divide and conquer. It's a classic tactic.
And it makes you wonder, if that letter is a blueprint for division, what would a blueprint for unity look like today?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, and I feel like some of the sources offer clues.
Right.
Maggie Anderson's Buy Black experiment.
Right, focusing on economics.
But it highlights the power of collective action. using shared resources to benefit everyone.
It's about recognizing how interconnected things are, the businesses, the consumers, the community as a whole.
And what if we applied that to other areas?
Interesting thought.
Imagine a support Black education movement,
Okay, I'm listening.
pooling resources for mentorship, scholarships, community-led initiatives.
Or a Vote Black movement.
Exactly. Registering voters, supporting candidates who represent the community's needs.
It's taking that principle of unity and applying it across the board.
And it's not just about separate initiatives.
No.
It's about bridging those divides that have weakened the community.
Building coalitions across generations, genders.
Socioeconomic background.
Recognizing that despite our differences, we share that goal of liberation and progress.
We do.
Unity isn't about erasing our individuality.
Oh.
It's about understanding that we're stronger together, using our unique experiences to build a better world for everyone.
And that takes a willingness to listen,
to understand.
to work together to dismantle those systems holding us back.
Recognizing that our liberation is interconnected. Your liberation is my liberation.
That's what a blueprint for unity looks like. It's not a fixed document.
No.
It's a living process, constantly evolving, needing critical thinking, collaboration.
So it's a journey.
And we can all contribute.
We can.
Recognizing our own biases, challenging those systems of oppression, supporting the change makers,
Showing up, speaking out, taking action.
and remembering that progress isn't a destination, it's a journey.
There will be setbacks, but we can't lose hope.
This deep dive has really reinforced that.
It has.
We've seen the depths of oppression, but also the incredible spirit of the Black community.
And that spirit is what fuels the hope.
As long as there are people fighting for justice, dreaming of a better world,
Working together to make those dreams reality.
progress is bound to happen.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It is, really is.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to wrap things up.
It is.
This has been an incredible journey. Thank you for your insights, your thought-provoking questions.
The pleasure was all mine, and to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has challenged you, made you curious, and inspired you to keep exploring these important issues.
Because remember, the blueprint for unity is a living document, and we all have a part in shaping that more just and equitable future.
Keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for that progress.
That's the key. Always keep pushing forward.